This is Phoebe Green and the Locker of Destiny, written and read by me, James Dubern. We are on chapter 40, called Kenya Explain It. A man stood in the hallway of Perivale dressed in a smart brown jacket that revealed a herringbone pattern up close. His dark curly hair had grey coming through, but having a tan in December made him look like a movie star. He admired the suit of armour as he waited for his meeting. "Ah, Mr. Green," said Miss Perivale. The shoulder pads in her grey jacket were an armour of a different kind. She looked strong and unbreakable, though not unimpressed by Phoebe's grandfather. "I'm the headmistress. Please, come through to my office. I'd like to speak to you about your daughter," she said. Mr. Green followed Miss Perivale into her office and sat across from her. "This takes me back to my school days," he said. "Now, I must confess I'm a little confused." He took a clutch of letters from his jacket pocket and unfolded them. "I paid in advance for Katie's first term. Then I got a letter asking me to pay again for the spring term, which didn't make any sense. Then I got another letter telling me to ignore the first letter." Miss Perivale narrowed her eyes and dragged the letters towards her. She looked at the letter Phoebe had written, paying close attention to the signature which Jade had forged. She gently pinched the bridge of her nose and sighed. "What a mess," she said. "We were not expecting Phoebe until January." "Katie," Mr. Green said. "Yes, Katie, she likes to go by Phoebe," Miss Perivale said. Before he could interrupt, she continued. "She arrived without any luggage, and we called and called, but could receive no answer from your phone. Have you been away?" "Yes, Kenya, but—" She nodded. "We provided Katie with clothes and materials, for which there will be no charge. The problem came with her behaviour." "My daughter's behaviour?" he asked. "Yes, there were a few incidents that I was not happy with." "In Kenya," he said. "I can assure you she was very well behaved at her previous schools, and will be no problem at Perivale." Miss Perivale ignored him. She had expelled girls before and found that the parents always had a rose-tinted view of their daughters. She knew the girls better than the fathers in most cases. "What the rules are in Kenya, I have no idea," Miss Perivale said. "I know this girl, and she is trouble." Mr. Green leaned forward, his face perplexed. "How do you know her?" he asked. "You've never met her." "Anyway, that's irrelevant now," Miss Perivale continued. "It turned out there was a mix-up, and your daughter wasn't the person I thought she was. Whilst she has done some questionable things, she shouldn't be removed. I have decided she can continue her education at Perivale." "Ah, I see," Mr. Green said. He sat back in the chair. "I was getting confused for a moment. It sounded like there were two Katies. You mean she can start her time at Perivale?" "Well, a fresh start is what we would call it," Miss Perivale said. "The only thing remaining is the fee for the spring term. I will need that paid today, as we are a matter of days away from breaking for Christmas." Mr. Green let out a snort of frustration. "I'm sorry, but this doesn't make sense. I already paid for Katie's first term, which will be the spring term." "Right, but that money was used for the term we just finished. Katie came early," Miss Perivale said. "No, she didn't," he said. "Give me a moment, please." Mr. Green left the office, strode through reception, and retrieved his daughter from the car. When he returned with his 11-year-old, Katie kept her arms awkwardly by her waist and offered the tiniest nervous wave. Miss Perivale assumed it was Phoebe. The resemblance was uncanny. Then she noticed that Phoebe's hair had changed. Her fringe hung just above her eyebrows, and her layers curled inwards towards her neck. But her unique grey-green eyes convinced the headmistress that this was the girl who had harassed her on the beach that very morning. "What have you done to your hair?" Miss Perivale shook her head. Katie inspected her layers. She had spent half an hour convincing her hair to curl inwards at the tip with a big round brush. Suddenly, she wished it was scraped back in a simple ponytail like the other girls she had seen on the lawn. Mr. Green was beginning to lose patience. "Are you asking me to pay for a term during which Katie was in Kenya?" Miss Perivale, whose vision wasn't the best, stood up and approached Katie. She leaned in towards the young girl and inspected her like a sculpture at a museum. Her skin was tanned and her lips more full than Phoebe's. Finally, Miss Perivale understood that this was a different girl altogether. "Oh," Miss Perivale said. "I thought she was somebody else. I thought this was Phoebe." The gloomy office fell silent for a moment, and Miss Perivale returned to her seat. She asked Katie to sit beside her father, and she called her secretary to send in Phoebe. Phoebe entered the room, Her school uniform bobbled at the elbows and mud-stained from the greenhouse. She stared at Katie, fresh-faced and beautiful in an Alanis Morissette t-shirt. She threw her arms around Katie, her mum, who she hadn't seen for 3 months, or minus 30 years, depending on how you looked at it. Katie awkwardly returned the hug. Miss Perivale sat back in her chair and looked at the two girls, who looked so hauntingly similar. "Phoebe, what is going on?" she said. "May I have a moment to speak to Mr. Green?" Phoebe asked. "Yes, I presume you two know each other," Miss Perivale said. Mr. Green said no, and Phoebe said yes, which cancelled each other out. Miss Perivale shook her head and ushered them out of the office so they could speak in private.